Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and today I'm just be officially updating you on some more current transfer rumours and gossip. So if you do consider drop your likes, and if you do consider subscribe to the channel as always. So there is lots to negotiate on this video today. Going to give you a bit more additional information of what's going on in regards to Paul Dybala. Also going to keep you up to date of what's going on with Lukaku. Going to give you the latest news about Christian Eriksen, and of course lots of other things to currently talk about. There is now, I think, just 36 hours remaining of this transfer window, so teams in the Premier League have got until Thursday 5 PM to finalise their incomings, but have still got until the 2nd of September, to negotiate the sale of players and that. And we are all aware that Manchester United do need to do more business in the market. Obviously, we have got 3 players on the board this summer. We spent £148 million, but obviously now we have got that experienced centre half in. We've got that right back in. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's priority now, will be to obviously add a couple of new additions in that midfield. So we, so still further more investment is needed in the squad. So let's currently start with the news about Paulo Dybala. So reports were stemming out yesterday. I think it was stemming from Damasio, who is a very reliable Italian journalist. Sometimes he does currently get things wrong, because he has got things wrong in the past. But Damasio came out yesterday. I think it also was stemming from Sky in Italy, saying that Tottenham have agreed a €70 million fee with Juventus for Paul Dybala. I think €70 million equates to around 64.4 million in pounds sterling, I think, if I'm right. Obviously, Tottenham will want to find an agreement, with Dybala and his agent over the personal terms, because obviously, the personal terms have not been agreed. But actually, Paul Dybala's ex-Norwich wage demand, could be the stumbling block of him, making his move to Tottenham, because I do believe he's demanding more than what currently Harry Kane is on. So reportedly now they have come to an agreement on a fee, and this year Juventus valued Dybala at around £80 million, but now around the £64.4 million fee has been agreed between the two clubs. Now potentially we do know Tottenham are looking to do more of transfer activity before this window does shut. Don't forget they've already smashed their transfer record this summer on Tanguy Ndombele, who I think they paid around £65 million for. Obviously they did get Jack Clarke from Leeds, but he has been loaned back to Leeds for this season. Obviously they've got a few other targets on their agenda. Obviously they're in for Bruno Fernandes. Obviously they've been in for Giovanni Lo Celso. Giovanni Lo Celso has been one of their main priority targets. Obviously they've been in for Ryan Sessegnon throughout the course of the summer. So Tottenham are still looking to do more transfer activity, because I do believe Tottenham's expectations this season, and probably Pochettino's expectations, will be probably to win some silverware, because Pochettino's a really good manager. He's well Premier League proven. He's good at developing young players and that, but obviously he hasn't won any trophies yet, so he hasn't got that proven pedigree of winning any trophies. Obviously they got to the first Champions League final last season, and this is the best Tottenham team I've seen in this generation for a very long time. But obviously with Christian Eriksen wanting to leave Tottenham, obviously Tottenham are going to want a replacement for him. So there's quite a few players on their agenda who could replace Dybala, Bruno Fernandes, Giovanni Lo Celso and that. But I did say the personal terms could be the stumbling block of Dybala making his move to Tottenham, just like it was the personal terms were the stumbling block of him making his move to Manchester United, because obviously Dybala was demanding around 350 grand a week to come to Manchester United. Obviously we was reluctant to pay his current wage demands, and this is why obviously the swap deal didn't materialise between Dybala and Romelu Lukaku, even though I would have loved the swap deal to currently go through. But it confirmed earlier on this week that we'd ended our interest in Dybala due to his reservations about joining Manchester United, and also due to his wage demands, and also the current agent fees. But more than likely Tottenham will obviously have to smash their transfer record anyway to currently get a deal over the line for Paulo Dybala. So Paul Dybala, is a very good player, and I did initially say, if he does come to the Premier League, I think he will succeed in the Premier League. I think he will exceed expectation levels, because in the majority of his 4 years with Juventus, he has done really well. I know he enjoyed a difficult season last season, did Dybala, because he initially lost his place in the Juventus team last season to Cristiano Ronaldo. Now obviously we do know the situation with Dybala. He returned to training, I think on Monday of this week, because initially he had been withdrawn from Juventus training, was it, over the course of the weekend and last week, until his transfer saga was resolved. And yeah, he did return to training on Monday earlier on this week. I do believe he was forced to train alone by Juventus as well. by Juventus as well over the course of the weekend. So obviously, that fueled more speculation. It didn't actually say that Dybala was angry, was sad with Juventus. It didn't actually say he wanted to leave Juventus. But I do believe Dybala's actual preference is to remain in Turin, because he was recently saying that he wants to fight his place back in the team. And he didn't actually say he was set to hold talks with Maurizio Sarri regarding his future. And I do believe he held them talks with Maurizio Sarri the other week. But like I said, I think Dybala, would blend in the Tottenham team really, really well, and I think he would go alongside Harry Kane, fantastically well. But I just don't think, Tottenham, would be willing to meet his wage demands. And yeah, and I think, Pochettino, would like Dybala, to currently go there. But Tottenham have been in quite a few negotiations with Juventus. But Dybala is a very, very good player. Like I said, I would have loved him at Manchester United, because his goal scoring pedigree is absolutely fantastic. In the 4 years with Juventus, he has scored 78 goals in 182 appearances in all competitions. Obviously, he's still got 3 years left on his contract with Juventus, so he's under contract with them until 2022. Don't forget he's on around 120 grand a week with Juventus. So I think for him to go to Tottenham, he'd probably demand at least in the excess of around £300,000 a week. So obviously he does want a massive pay rise. Obviously he's won 4 Serie A's and 3 Coppa Italians in his 4 years with Juventus as Dybala, and I think he's been named in the Serie A Team of the Year on 3 occasions. Reflecting on his impressive performances. But he enjoyed a difficult time last season. He only managed 10 goals in all competitions last season, but he's only 25 years of age. He has still got a lot of development in him. He is predominantly a number 10 is Dybala, and obviously Tottenham's priority is to recommend an attacking midfielder in. So they do believe that the likes of Dybala and Bruno Fernandes and that would be the right solution. But yeah, obviously I thought with the Dybala situation, I thought there was a bit of credibility last week in Dybala coming to Manchester United, because we've only been tentatively linked to him. He hasn't been one of our main priority targets as Dybala. Obviously the links only really emerged in the last 7 days or so, because Sky in Italy, they reported out last week saying that Manchester United and Juventus had agreed a swap deal in principle involving Romelu Lukaku and Paul Dybala. Obviously for that swap deal to have gone through, the deal basically hinged on Paulo Dybala, because it didn't actually say that Lukaku obviously had agreed the personal terms and that with Juventus. But obviously if Juventus do sell Dybala to Tottenham, obviously they can generate the funds, generate the 64.4 million from his departure, and then obviously generate them funds, and then obviously put them funds on Romelu Lukaku, because I still believe Juventus remain interested in Romelu Lukaku. But it's a shame that the swap deal didn't go through between Dybala and Lukaku, because it would have made perfect sense, because you've got Dybala that surface 2 requirements at Juventus, you've got Romelu Lukaku that surface 2 requirements at Manchester United. So it is a shame that the swap deal didn't currently go through. But we was not willing to meet his £350,000 a week wage demands, and we probably could have afforded to meet his wage demands and the agent fees and all that, because obviously we're a big club, we've got massive revenues, and obviously with us willing to offload Lukaku as part of the deal, it would have obviously freed up our wage bill to help us generate funds to give Dybala that significant pay rise. But I think 350 grand a week is too much, because we've got a history of spending big on players. We've also got players on big contracts now. Maybe this is why we was very, very sceptical about giving Dybala 350 grand a week. But and I think Juventus paid around, was it 40 million euros for him from Parma back in 2015. So actually Tottenham now could get this deal over the line for Dybala. But I did say the obstacle in negotiations could actually be the personal terms. Obviously Tottenham can offer Dybala Champions League football. Obviously Manchester United can't offer him Champions League football. So I did say certain players may have reservations about joining the club, because we're not in Champions League football. Obviously we failed to qualify for the Champions League 3 times out of the 6 seasons since Alex Ferguson's retirement. But I do believe we've got big ambitions for the future, and obviously we want to get back to winning trophies, and obviously this is what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will want to bring back to the football club. But Solskjaer was talking about our ambitions the other week, and he believes we'll be aiming for further up than 4th this season. I think this season our expectations will be to finish 4th, maybe win some silverware. But I think this season we will qualify for the Champions League. I think we'll maybe finish 3rd, maybe even finish 2nd, but I am still sceptical about Manchester United winning the league. So yeah, so we do know definitely Dybala to Manchester United is off. So if he does leave Juventus, you probably know will end up making the move to Tottenham. I can't remember how much Tottenham paid for Jack Clark, but I know they paid around £65 million for Jack Clark. But Tottenham did initially say there was orchestrating on spending a substantial amount this summer, because obviously before they got them two signings in, Tottenham didn't do any transfer activity in the last couple of windows, and Pochettino gave his overarching view on it. At the end of last season, I think this was before the Champions League final, and he basically said if he isn't back to this summer, he actually threatened to resign as Tottenham manager in that. So yeah. So yeah, that's the latest news about Paulo Dybala. So we'll give you the news now in regards to Romelu Lukaku, because there is big news that's updated about him. So obviously we do know that Lukaku has been training with the Anderlecht reserves. I think Manchester United granted him permission to go and train with the Anderlecht reserves. Now obviously I think he's awaiting to leave Manchester United. I think recent reports have also suggested out saying that Inter Milan have had a second bid turned down by Manchester United for Lukaku, and I think reportedly Inter Milan had made a £68 million bid, but Manchester United had turned this down. Now I think also recent reports have said that Romelu Lukaku is set to be hit with a maximum fine of almost £400,000, due to his refusal to return to training on Tuesday, even though he had been granted permission to train with the Anderlecht reserves. So obviously Lukaku does remain in Belgium. Obviously we do know that Lukaku wants to leave the football club. Obviously now Inter Milan are back in for Romelu Lukaku due to the swap deal between Lukaku and Dybala breaking down. Obviously now Inter Milan have currently revived their interest, because obviously Antonio Conte did say Inter Milan remain interested in Romelu Lukaku, but obviously we do know Inter Milan have been in for Romelu Lukaku all summer basically. Obviously they've just recently had a £68 million bid turned down. Also the other week they had a £54 million bid turned down. They also inquired about getting Lukaku on a 2-year loan with the obligation to buy. Obviously again Manchester United didn't entertain the offer because we're only willing to let him go on a permanent deal. We've already told Inter Milan we want around £75 or £80 million, so we're looking to recoup the money that we did pay for Lukaku a couple of years ago from Everton, which was we paid around £75 million for him. Obviously there were 15 million add-ons included, which did potentially rise it to around £90 million and that. And Lukaku has still got 3 years left on his contract with the football club. Solskjaer, going back about 3 weeks ago, he said he wants Romelu Lukaku to stay at the football club at least for one more season, because he's looking to keep his imperative players at the football club. But Lukaku now is surplus to requirements at Manchester United. Obviously since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got recommended in, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first choice preference has been Marcus Rashford ahead of Romelu Lukaku, and obviously now you've got the likes of Greenwood that's upcoming. He's going to be assured more playing time this season, like Solskjaer confirmed. You've got Chon that's upcoming, you've got Daniel James in that attacking line, you've got Martial and all that. So obviously Lukaku's going to find it very difficult to get there in the mix. But I think Solskjaer anyway has spoken to the vast majority of our players this summer. But there has been a lot of speculation throughout the course of the summer of players coming in and of course players going out. But obviously this is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's this has been Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first summer as Manchester United manager. But Lukaku, I think did describe Antonio Conte as one of the best managers in the world. Obviously Antonio Conte has been a long admirer of Romelu Lukaku. Plenty back a couple of years ago, Antonio Conte wanted Romelu Lukaku. This is when he was the manager of Chelsea, but obviously he ended up turning down Chelsea and of course coming to Manchester United. But he did describe Antonio Conte as one of the best managers in the world. So he's actually keen on playing under his guidance. Obviously it came out a couple of months ago saying that Inter Milan had agreed the personal terms of Romelu Lukaku, and he said he agreed a contract worth around 108 grand a week. But obviously no fee has come to an agreement, because for the entirety of the summer basically Inter Milan have been struggling to meet our valuation. This is why he hasn't of course gone to Inter Milan. Obviously Inter Milan I think only initially value him at around £60 million. But yeah, this is the main reason why he hasn't gone to Inter Milan. I think Inter Milan have been under financial fair play restrictions, or they're still under financial fair play restrictions. I think Inter Milan have been trying to offload a couple of their players throughout the course of the summer to help them generate funds to meet that £75 or £80 million valuation. But obviously it hasn't currently materialised. And obviously we're also being unwilling to accept swap deals that Inter Milan have offered us. But yeah, and I think, Federico Pastorelli, Lukaku's agent, he's obviously held quite a few negotiations with Inter Milan, and he said obviously, Inter Milan are desperate to sign him, and obviously Inter Milan director the other week, came to London, to hold furthermore talks and that with Manchester United. But I think we get rid of Lukaku, it'd be beneficial for the club, and I think it'll also be beneficial for the player himself. Obviously now we have got quite a few players on our agenda, who could replace him at the football club. Obviously Dybala's now not coming in, so you can say now he's out of the equation. There's still talks about Moussa Dembele from Lyon and that going on. But Lukaku's he's been at Manchester United 2 years. To be fair to him, he was exceptional in his first season, but didn't really replicate that form, of course, in his second season. I think he scored 27 goals in all competitions in his first season with Manchester United. I think in his 2 seasons he scored 42 goals in 96 games for the club in all competitions as Lukaku. To be fair to him, I'll give him the credit. His goal scoring pedigree is good in the Premier League. He's well Premier League proven. He's still 26 years of age as Lukaku, so he's still got a hell of a lot of development in him. But I think it will be beneficial for his career, of course, if he does currently leave Manchester United. I think he was talking about Juventus a while back, and I think his actual preference at one point was Juventus, because I think he was excited about the prospect of playing alongside Cristiano Ronaldo in the Juventus team. But it has been mainly Inter Milan that have been in for him throughout the course of the summer. Juventus have been tentatively linked to him. The only links really emerged of him going to Juventus is when the Dybala rumours started emerging out of the current media and that. But yeah, we definitely need to get rid of the player. And obviously Lukaku didn't make an appearance on pre-season tour. Don't forget he didn't play one game. Obviously they called him Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Solskjaer said Lukaku had been injured. He had some kind of ankle problem. This is why, of course, he hadn't been playing. So obviously that fueled more speculation. So reportedly set to be almost fined £400,000. A maximum fine of almost £400,000 due to his refusal to return to training on Tuesday. As you all know, he has been training with the Anderlecht reserves in the last couple of days. And yeah, like I said with Lukaku, he's on a substantial amount at Manchester United. It only cost us a lot of money. He's also on a substantial amount. He's on over £200,000 a week. But I think the club do need to get rid of him. Now, I want to give you a bit more additional information of what's going on in regards to Christian Eriksen. Now, more stories have updated about him. Now, recent reports have indicated saying that we've made a late audacious move for Christian Eriksen. Now, reportedly, Manchester United remain in negotiations with Christian Eriksen's representatives over getting a £50 million deal over the line, because I think certain teams have been given a boost in their pursuit of Christian Eriksen, because it has confirmed now that Tottenham have lowered their asking price. Because at one point, Tottenham were demanding a substantial amount. Daniel Levy and Tottenham said they wanted around £130 million for him earlier on in the summer. But I do believe now they've lowered their asking price to around £70 million. But I think we're keen on getting him for around £50 million. And £50 million is a reasonable figure, for a player of Christian Eriksen's calibre and level. Obviously, we're seeing Christian Eriksen as a replacement for Paul Pogba. But I don't think his move to Manchester United anywhere is dependent on what happens with Paul Pogba. So obviously Christian Eriksen confirmed, was it early on this summer, he notified Tottenham that he does want to leave. Obviously he's seeking for a new challenge, and obviously Tottenham have come to accept the fact that Christian Eriksen wants to leave Tottenham to obviously rejuvenate his career and take his football and career to the next level. And we do know mainly it's been Real Madrid that have been in for him. Obviously it's confirmed now that Real Madrid's number one priority target is Paul Pogba ahead of Christian Eriksen. So their preferred preference is Paul Pogba over Christian Eriksen. Probably Christian Eriksen would be a cheaper solution for Real Madrid than Paul Pogba, because obviously we said we want around £150 million for Paul Pogba. But yeah, we still remain in negotiation with Christian Eriksen's representatives. We want to get a £50 million deal and that over the line. He has got 1 year remaining on his contract with Tottenham, or is it under 1 year now remaining on his contract with Tottenham. But very, very good player, 27 years of age, highly experienced, predominantly an attacking midfielder. I think he's well Premier League proven as well. Obviously, he's been at Tottenham now over 6 years. I think he's made 206 appearances. He's scored 49 goals and provided 60 assists. And I think he's made about 246 appearances in all competitions. So his stats are very, very impressive. Obviously, reflecting on his impressive performances, he's been named Tottenham Player of the Year twice. He's also won the Danish Football Player of the Year award on 5 occasions. And like I said, he's only had 27 years of age. He's Christian Eriksen. He reportedly said yesterday though that Man United are close to reaching an agreement. It reportedly said, we've now reached a contract with Christian Eriksen. I think we're willing to offer him around a 5-year deal and that. But I think quite a few teams have expressed their interest in Christian Eriksen. But now reportedly, we've made an audacious late move for the player. We've been tentatively linked to him. He obviously hasn't been one of our main priority targets. But like I said, now we have stepped up our interest in the player, and we're keen on getting a deal over the line before this window does shut. And I think he would be fantastic for Manchester United, and I think he would succeed because he's got all the attributes to succeed. He's done well in the 6 years he has been with Tottenham. Obviously, Tottenham paid, was it around £11.5 million for him from Ajax back in 2013. But yeah, Daniel Levy, he seems to be a hard negotiator. It's not easy to get deals over the line. When Daniel Levy is obviously a bit a hard negotiator. But Christian Eriksen, like I said, he's predominantly an attacking midfielder. He's got goals in him, he's got assists in him. He can create chances. I think he's also very tall, which is very beneficial. But I think it did say yesterday that Tottenham have lowered their asking price. Now they do want around 60 or 70 million pounds. So that's obviously how much he's going to cost Manchester United. So obviously, if he was to be our fourth signing, obviously we spent 148 million pounds this summer. It would take our spending up to around 100 and say I think it'd take it over 200 odd million pounds. If we were to get him for 50 million pounds, obviously it'd take our spending just under 200 million pounds. So it'd take it up to around 198 million pounds. But yeah, Tottenham have come to accept the fact that Christian Eriksen does want to leave their club. But like I said, you think Christian Eriksen will make the move to Manchester United. I think he's open to making the move now to Manchester United. Obviously his initial preference was Real Madrid, but now I think he's open to making the move to Manchester United. And yeah, so we'll see what happens with that. I want to give you the latest news now in regards to Bruno Fernandes. Obviously we do know Bruno Fernandes is one of Tottenham's targets they're in for, who obviously is going to replace Christian Eriksen at Tottenham. Now, I was reading reports about Bruno Fernandes yesterday, and I think it said reportedly Manchester United held furthermore negotiations with Bruno Fernandes' agent the other night, and it reportedly says now we have agreed a 6-year contract with the player, and I think it's a 6-year contract worth up to around £106,000 a week reportedly. So reportedly Man United have agreed the contract, but obviously no fee has yet come to an agreement. Now reportedly Sporting Lisbon are obviously open to selling him, but Sporting Lisbon do want around £65 million, and Manchester United and Tottenham have obviously not yet met that valuation. I do believe it also said that Tottenham have agreed the personal terms with Bruno Fernandes, but I do believe now Tottenham are regarded as the favourites to sign the player, because obviously reports came out last week saying that his actual preference is a move to Tottenham over Manchester United. Now obviously we do know Bruno Fernandes after Sporting Lisbon's 5-0 defeat to Benfica on Sunday, and he broke down in tears, and obviously that fueled more speculation about Bruno Fernandes leaving Sporting Lisbon, and that was obviously the second time he broke down in tears in space of a week. So obviously that just indicates how that Bruno Fernandes is on his way out of Sporting Lisbon. I do believe also after his side lost 5-0 to Benfica, he made a public apology to the Sporting Lisbon fans and that, which was very good Bruno Fernandes. But reflecting back last Friday, Bruno Fernandes had left Sporting Lisbon's training ground after a meeting to finalise his transfer exit. So I do believe he met up with the likes of the boss of Sporting Lisbon. He met up with Federico Varandas, the Sporting Lisbon president. He also met up with the Sporting Lisbon director, of course, to finalise his exit away from the club. Obviously it was him and his agent, I do believe, that have currently had this meeting. But we do know Bruno Fernandes' agent is looking for the best possible deal for his client and that. But yeah, he did confirm last week Tottenham had re-entered the equation. They'd set their interest up in the player. Obviously Tottenham have been still in talks, or have been in talks with Sporting Lisbon to sign Bruno Fernandes, because it confirmed last week that Tottenham officials had flown out to Portugal to obviously go meet up with Federico Varandas and that to get a possible deal thrashed out for Bruno Fernandes. Now I do believe he wants to make the move to Tottenham. Obviously Tottenham has seen him as a replacement for Christian Eriksen. Like I did say, it's been mainly Manchester United that have been in for him for the majority of the summer, because obviously he has been one of our main priority targets. And again, with the situation with Paul Pogba, it's not having any effect on Bruno Fernandes coming to Manchester United. So Bruno Fernandes' move to Manchester United is not dependent on what happens with Paul Pogba. But Solskjaer said anywhere, regardless of what happens with Paul Pogba, we're still looking to bring a couple of new additions in that midfield, and we were basically orchestrating on bringing two midfields in that can replace Herrera and Mario Fellaini, because obviously we do know Ander Herrera and Mario Fellaini both left the football club and that. So basically we need someone that can play alongside Paul Pogba in our midfield, and I do believe Bruno Fernandes would be the right type of player to play alongside Paul Pogba in our midfield, because I think they're blending very, very well together. But now Bruno Fernandes to Manchester United could be in serious jeopardy now, with Tottenham now re-entering the equation. But obviously Tottenham can offer Champions League football to Bruno Fernandes. Manchester United can't offer Champions League football to Bruno Fernandes, so actually that could go against us in that aspect. But I said for the majority of the summer it has been mainly Manchester United that have been in for him. Obviously we've held several negotiations with Sporting Lisbon. Obviously you got British journalists coming out the other week saying that Manchester United haven't been interested in Bruno Fernandes all summer, but obviously that got proven to be a load of nonsense. You got reports coming out last week saying that Sporting has been denied speculation that we'd reached an agreement with them to sign Bruno Fernandes and that. But obviously no fee has yet come to an agreement with Man United or Sporting Lisbon or Tottenham and Sporting Lisbon. And I did say for the majority of the sum that Sporting Lisbon's valuation has seemed to be the stumbling block, because obviously for quite some time, we've only been willing to pay around £50 million for the player. Obviously, Tottenham have recently put around a £55 million bidding for him. So the valuation, does actually, seem to be the stumbling block. I think it did say, our board have got, some concern of elements about, spending quite a bit of money on Bruno Fernandes, with his little experience of playing to the highest level. Also, with his, he hasn't really played in Champions League football. So honestly, we was not willing to meet Sporting Lisbon's valuation. Is obviously, this is seen to be the stumbling block. Obviously, Liverpool have been in for him. They've been tentatively linked to him throughout the course of the summer. He hasn't been one of their priority targets, but they have been sort of tentatively linked to him. I think they've held a few negotiations and that with his agent. But like I said, his agent has been to the UK quite a few times. But I'd love Bruno Fernandes to come to Manchester United. I think he's a really, really good player. Predominantly an attacking midfielder, only 24 years of age, and he'd fit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's transfer strategy perfectly, because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said at the end of May, he said at the end of last season, he wants to obviously recommend young players in that can grow, develop and emulate in superstars, and obviously Bruno Fernandes is very, very young. Obviously Bruno Fernandes can create chances, he can score goals, as he has demonstrated in his 2 seasons in Portugal with Sporting Lisbon. His tenacity is really, really good, his work ethic is good. I think he's also very, very good from set pieces, so I think he would be the right type of calibre player for Manchester United. He scored, 32 goals last season for Sporting Lisbon in 50 appearances. He's still got 4 years remaining on his contract with Sporting Lisbon, so he's under contract with them until 2023. I think his initial release clause is around £88 million, but obviously we're not determined to go anywhere near that figure. And obviously when he was younger, he had good spells with the likes of Sampdoria, and underneath did Bruno Fernandes. Obviously he spent the majority of his career in Italy, of course, when he was younger. But I think now Tottenham are regarded as the favourites to currently sign the player, so now he could be missing out on Bruno Fernandes, and that is a disappointment, because obviously I did say regarding the board and that they're assured that there was going to be backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer this summer. There was going to be backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer this summer. I did say if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer doesn't get all the players that he does want, you can basically say the board have let him down and all that, because obviously he wants to get all the players that he does want in, because I do know what squad Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to rebuild. Solskjaer gave his overall analysis on this window, though. He basically explained of how much of a difficult window it is. It's not easy to get all the players that he do want, and he also said we've got to be patient in this window. We have now got good players on the board. Solskjaer's actual preference was I think at the end was it back in March, if I'm right, he basically said, he wants our transfer business. He wanted our transfer business completed, by the time we initially, went out on pre-season tour. But obviously, that didn't currently materialise. And there was quite a few people saying, at the end of last season, we should be sensible with our recruitment this summer. Solskjaer was recently talking about our recruitment policy, and obviously it hasn't been good in the last couple of windows, because we didn't get any in January. We didn't get any. We didn't get our number 1 targets last summer, and obviously, we have got the players that we want in so far this summer, but we haven't got all the players that we're wanting because there's still deficiencies in the squad that need to be addressed. You know, we have now got that experienced centre half in, which is good. We've got that right back in. You know, we've got a good player in Daniel James and that, but we need a couple of new additions in that midfield because we are lacking in that midfield. I believe Manchester United need a right winger, and I still believe we need to add a bit more experience in that attacking line because, you know, I've been analysing the games throughout pre-season. You know, we do look a much better team now. We look better in the attacking third of the pitch. You know, we've got we've got that pace now, and that's something we lacked last season. We didn't have that pace last season. This is why last season, you know, we lacked goals, and this is why we only managed 53 goals in the Premier League last season. And, you know, we conceded a lot last season. We conceded 54 goals in the Premier League, and of course finished 6th. But, you know, we look much better now. You know, you've got Daniel James with good pace, you've got Martial with good pace, you've got Rashford and that with good pace. But I do believe, I do believe, we look much better now in that attacking third in the pitch. But I think the likes of Martial probably will play more centrally anywhere this season because he seems to be more effective in that central position. And I think he fulfills that number 9 role very well because he played well in that central position, throughout pre-season. Probably Rashford will play centrally quite a few times this season because obviously Martial and Rashford can both play out wide. You know, they can also both play centrally. But yeah, I can't wait to the game on Sunday against Chelsea, opening day of the Premier League season. It's going to be good to see. Obviously, Harry Maguire is probably going to be giving his debut for Manchester United. Also, Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka are going to be giving their Premier League debuts, which will be very good. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer now has got an indication of what team he's going to go with on Sunday against Chelsea, and I do believe majority of the team will get their chances this season. The young players, the fringe players, the experienced players, and that. Like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, more or less give everybody the chance throughout pre-season. Obviously, there was a few players that didn't play throughout pre-season. Obviously, Lukaku didn't, Sanchez didn't because I think Sanchez has been injured. Darmian didn't. Darmian's service to requirements in the football club. I think Demetri Mitchell had been injured, so he didn't play for Sorrento and that had been injured. But overall, it was a good pre-season. Won 6 games out of 6. Well, if you want to include us when beating AC Milan on penalties, won 6 games out of 6, 12 goals scored and only 3 goals conceded. That's very impressive impressive indeed. But I think we do need to sell players anyway because he is problematic players at the football club. Such as Darmian and Rojo. Manchester United. You need to get rid of them. With Darmian, I think his Manchester United career has been mainly affected because he hasn't been mainly given the chance. This is why his career at Manchester United has been affected. And with Marcus Rojo, he hasn't really. He's Manchester United career has been affected, the amount of injuries he has sustained. And we've got a couple of injury-prone players in our squad. You've got Eric Bailly, he's injury-prone. He's obviously out for this season, is Eric Bailly. Well, he's out for up to 5 months at least, so he's obviously out until Christmas time. He's got a knee injury, as Eric Bailly. And I do know how much of an imperative player that Eric Bailly is, but, I don't know how much an imperative player he is, but I just think his Manchester United career has been mainly affected, the amount of injuries sustained. Obviously, with his fallout under managers, it's really taken its toll on Eric Bailly. So I'm very delighted that we did get Harry Maguire in. Obviously, it got announced a couple of days ago. He's obviously now our second most expensive signing. Our second most expensive signing, just behind Paul Pogba, who of course we paid £89 million for Paul Pogba. He's also the second most expensive signing in the English top flight. He's Harry Maguire, and he's also the most expensive defender in the world because obviously we paid £80 million for him. Obviously the fee we paid exceeded the fee of what Liverpool paid for Virgil van Dijk back in January 2018 because Liverpool paid £75 million for Van Dijk. So obviously we've paid £5 million more than what Liverpool for Harry Maguire than what Liverpool paid for Virgil van Dijk. Just wait there a minute. Yeah, so what Liverpool paid for Virgil van Dijk, and so Harry Maguire, we know he's signed a 6-year contract with the club with an option to extend by further years. So it's going to take him the contract with the club until 2005-2026. Also, his shirt number has been revealed, and he's going to be full in that number 5 shirt. He's Harry Maguire, and I think Rio Ferdinand would wear that shirt. And I think he's on around up to £200,000 a week. This is what he's currently set to earn. So he's obviously not on a substantial amount because I think we've actually more than than doubled his wages, because I don't think he was on that much, when he was at Leicester, Harry Maguire. But like I said, I watched his interview the other day, and he's very delighted, to come to a massive club. I think he was watching Manchester United, when he was a youngster at Sheffield United. Was Harry Maguire. But yeah, I'm very, very delighted with the signing. But like I said, we initially had problems, defensively for years. Obviously, it was our priority last summer, to recommend a central defender and that to come in. And I initially said, we didn't have a world class central. We didn't have world class central defending, since we had the likes of Vidic and Ferdinand. But I do believe Harry Maguire alongside Victor Lindelof in our back line is going to be fantastic. They're going to blend in very, very well together. Harry Maguire is a better option than what we've got now. Victor Lindelof's still doing very, very well. Though he did well in his second season with Manchester United, and I do believe, he is flourishing in this Manchester United team. Is Victor Lindelof. But yeah, I'm very, very delighted with the signing of Harry Maguire. But we've just got to focus on getting at least now one midfielder in. There's been a lot of midfielders on our agenda. Don't forget, there has obviously still been talks about Sean Longstaff going on. I don't think Sean Longstaff is going to be coming to Manchester United. I'm very sceptical about Sean Longstaff coming to Manchester United, because I just don't think we're willing to pay what Newcastle are demanding. Obviously, you got reports coming out the other week. You got reports coming out the other week saying that Newcastle were demanding that they wanted in the excess of around £50 million, and I do believe £50 million is too much for Sean Longstaff. Obviously, Steve Bruce got recently appointed as Newcastle's new manager, following the dismissal of Rafa Benitez, was it at the end of June. And he's had his say on the speculation regarding Sean Longstaff, and he's actually said that Sean Longstaff's future lies with Newcastle. He also has dismissed speculation of Sean Longstaff joining Manchester United. Sean Longstaff did admit he's flattered with the interest by Manchester United, and that obviously we only initially value him at around 18 or 20 million pounds, and you've got Newcastle demanding more than double that for Sean Longstaff. And I think it did initially say a couple of weeks ago, we was orchestrating on putting around the £30 million bidding for him. Obviously, no official bid has been put in as yet. Manchester United have held high level talks and that with Newcastle for Sean Longstaff. Sean Longstaff is 21. He is predominantly a central midfielder, so he's mainly a box-to-box midfielder. But he's still inexperienced. You can say he's still inexperienced because he's only got 9 games to his name. He only made his Newcastle senior debut in December of last year. But he did well in the second half of last season under Rafa Benitez. He didn't play the last couple of months of last season due to that serious knee ligament injury he had sustained back in March. So obviously he didn't play the last couple of months of last season, did Sean Longstaff. But I do believe now he's recovered from his injury. But Newcastle said they wanted around £50 million for the player. But that is way too extortionate. He initially began his career with Newcastle, did Longstaff. He also had loan spells with Blackpool, and I think he also had the loan spell in Scotland with Kilmarnock. But he's been another midfielder on Manchester United's agenda. So if we can get at least one more signing on the board before this window does shut, I will be pretty happy. But Solskjaer says anyway, we're looking to sign 1 or 2 more players before this window does currently shut. But like I said, we've got a history of spending big on players. A hell of a lot of money has been spent at the football club over the years. Look how much we spent in the last 6 years. Since Alex Ferguson's retirement, we spent around £968 million, and that got confirmed when we confirmed the signing of Harry Maguire. It confirmed, how much we spent this summer, and it also confirmed how much we spent, in the last 6 years since Alex Ferguson's retirement. So we spent £148 million this summer so far under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but in total we spent £968 million. So that's just under £1 billion. So if we was to get another sign on the board before this window shuts, it'll take it over to over £1 billion. I should presume. I do believe the club have spent over £1 billion since our Champions League success back in 2008 against Chelsea. But like I said, we have been inconsistent for the last 5 or 6 years. But we've been inconsistent because obviously we've been mismanaged. This is the main factor reason why we have been underachieving in that, because obviously we've had different managers with different philosophies. 3 managers have been sacked from the football club, since Alex Ferguson's retirement. But I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the right man that can get Manchester United back to success. But we've got a lot of we've got players on big contracts now. We've spent a lot of money on players, especially in recent years. Look what we paid for Pogba, 89 million. Paid 75 million for Lukaku. Obviously we paid a substantial amount for Fred last summer. We paid £50 million for Fred, and this is why I've got concerns about our midfield, because it's not good enough at the moment, because you've got Fred,
McTominay and Pereira. Don't get me wrong, you know, they have done well in pre-season. They've still got a hell of a lot of development in them. And, you know, to be fair, I think they're better solutions than Nemanja Matic, because Nemanja Matic is too inconsistent in that midfield. But I'm still very sceptical if Fred, McTominay and Pereira have got all the attributes, you know, to succeed at Manchester United. So I think we overpaid for Fred, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. Obviously, we paid £50 million for Wan-Bissaka, so he's obviously one of our most expensive signings. You know, obviously, we paid just under £60 million for Di Maria back under Louis van Gaal era, you know, back in 2015. So we have, you know, got a history of spending a substantial amount on players. You know, we have really got a history of doing that, but we can afford that because we're a massive club that's got a massive revenue. So, and like I said, I've been frustrated in the last 6 years as well, you know, with lack of silverware. You know, we haven't really won much silverware. We've made fair enough won the FA Cup under Louis van Gaal, you know, won the Europa League and the League Cup in Jose Mourinho's first season, but obviously, you know, that's not enough for Manchester United, as you all know. But like I said, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer believes he's following Alex Ferguson's philosophy anyway. You know, he believes he's following a policy, you know, that proved successful under Alex Ferguson. But Solskjaer, I think, can get Manchester United back to success. I'm very hopeful we can have a better season this season, and I do believe we'll have a better season this season, but I still don't think we'll win the league for the next couple of years. You know, we haven't won the league now for over 6 years. Obviously, the last time we won it was back in 2013, of course, in Alex Ferguson's last season. And actually, you know, last season, that season, we won the league by 11 points. And yeah, so that's mainly everything to update you with. So the main part of this video, you know, was to give you the latest news about Paulo Dybala. Now, according to Damasio, it's also stemming from Sky in Italy. It came out last night. Tottenham have agreed a €70 million fee with Juventus for Dybala. €70 million equates to just over 64 million in pounds sterling in that. But obviously, you know, the personal terms could be the obstacle in negotiations, you know, between Tottenham and Juventus, because Dybala probably will be demanding at least in the excess of £300,000 a week. So, you know, more additional information, you know, we'll definitely, you know, update about Paulo Dybala. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do consider subscribe, as always, and take care, God bless, and I'll see you all again very soon. Thanks for watching.